Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm a few minutes late. You guys are live here on the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook page with Brandy. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brush by Brandy. I come here and paint with you guys live every Thursday evening. So we are here at another Thursday. I'm sorry, we had some technology issues. I couldn't get into the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook page this week for some reason. I figured it out, but we had to install another app. So we worked it out. So I'm live here on the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook and Instagram page. We are going to start a new piece tonight. So I like to do pieces with you guys start to finish, and that way you get to see where they started at, where they came from, pulled directly from my stockpile. We're going to brush the dust off together and address all the problems that you come to in a piece from start to finish. So it doesn't, I wish every piece was putting on beautiful finishes and going from there, but usually it means you have to address all the problems first.
Oh, I could do this part of it.
Yeah, that's where we are. Lots of problems. Lots of problems. Speaking of problems, my husband Sean is here, you guys, to answer any questions. Yeah,
nice segue.
So pop on as we go and ask anything that you have questions on. Anything to do with prep, basically, tonight. And prep doesn't just mean cleaning your piece and getting it ready for paint. There's a lot of things we're going to address tonight. So this is the piece that I pulled out of my stockpile right here. And I'll tell you what, me and Sean looked at this and we're like, do we really want to put a painted finish on this? It's in rough shape. So let me show you guys some of the things that are wrong with this piece. But it's,
let me show you all the nice things about it.
But it's a realistic view of what a piece looks like when you go pick it up. Okay, first of all, this is an old piece. It's an old piece of furniture. I can tell by the joinery. It's got really detailed dovetail joints. I think you used to be able to buy furniture in kits and you could assemble the kit. You know, things used to be a lot different with how you furnished your home. And,
it's like IKEA, but a better quality.
Yeah, but it was solid wood. It was like the solid wood version of IKEA. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
You're welcome.
Probably came with better instructions too. So, and what I like to say about those pieces is this is a really cute solid wood piece of furniture. It's going to be a piece for your entryway to put your keys on top of and walk in. It's going to have tons of character. It's not going to be your everyday sock drawer. It's just not what it's made for anymore. So this piece, the first thing I noticed when I pulled it out is this was what the bottoms of the drawers look like. Do you guys see all the staining on there? They were just really a disgusting mess. I was either going to have to cover them, paper over the insides, or here's what we did with these. You guys ready for this? These drawers are a mirror image of each other.
Put your thinking caps on.
Yeah, do you guys have to guess? This is what we did with these drawer bottoms. This is the other one.
Not tinfoil hats.
This was the bottom of the drawer. It's got ink stains. This is probably like a crime scene right here. Some blood spatter. Don't put a black light on this. We swapped the drawer bottoms. They're flipped. They're flipped upside down to where I have brand new wood that's not been used is what's exposed, and the ugly stuff is going to be underneath. So I've got a brand new drawer bottom in here. I can oil this. So that was a huge problem solved on this piece, was just getting rid of this drawer bottom. Now I'm not forced to paper the insides of the drawers unless I want to. So, and what that entailed is they're nailed back in place now, but you can usually undo a nail and this drawer bottom will slide out. See how it's got a channel in there? So we slid the drawer bottom out, flipped it over, put it on the other side. If you've got a perfectly square drawer, you don't have to swap them. You can just flip it over, slide your drawer bottom
I would
back
have
in.
to agree with Tammy on this one. That is brilliant.
Okay, so while I'm going through and solving problems on a piece, the first thing I do is I'm assessing everything. The drawer glides on this are in really pretty good condition, but this is the point where if you need to repair any drawer glides, you can buy new drawer glides. If you have a local woodworking shop in your area, so Rockler is a woodworking shop, Wood Crafters is another one we've got locally here. Rockler you can shop from online. They sell wooden drawer glides if you need to replace them. If you have metal drawer glides, you can get those at Lowe's and Home Depot. Those are a little bit more modern, but for the wooden ones, you're going to have to go to a wood crafting shop. Okay, so that solved my drawer bottom problem. So
For some of it.
This piece has been painted before. This is not a wood stained finish. This is a painted finish. So when you're assessing a painted finish, it's not impossible to paint over previously painted pieces. but I always like to see them. I have a hard time when people send me photos of a piece and are like, what do I need to do to this? And it's got a painted finish on it. I can't tell by looking at it if it's going to be a latex paint. Is it chipping? Is it peeling? Is it well adhered? I can't scratch it with my fingernail and see, do I want that as a base for my paint? So this is one that I actually am able to see, and I can feel it and determine what I need to do to it. So, you know, if you do custom work for other people, that's a recommendation, is if the piece has already been painted, you want to look at it first. Don't try to assess it from photos. Even if you're buying a piece of furniture to paint it, go look at it first, you guys, before you decide you're going to run away and buy that. Go look at it if it's been painted before. You need to see the condition of the painted finish. So this one is well adhered. I can scratch my fingernail on it. I don't know what was used on this. I've got no idea. I'm guessing it was a chalk paint. It doesn't feel like a latex. Latex will be more gummy almost. You can kind of dig into it a little bit with your fingernail because it's a thicker paint. Like what you would use on the walls in your home is what a latex paint would feel like.
Now, can you paint over latex if it's not chipping?
You can. If it's in good condition, you absolutely can paint over a latex finish. But this is important to diagnose the condition of it, because I've also seen latex paint where literally you could get your fingernail under a little bit and you just peel it off in layers. It's not well attached at all. So if it's a well done latex, you can paint over your latex paint. So I think this is a chalk paint. I think it may have a wax finish on it. I'm not 100% sure. Usually wax you can tell because you can scratch it with your fingernail and a little bit of the wax will come off. This could just be a really well absorbed wax, or it's a clear coat. So I'm on the fence. I'm leaning towards wax. Yeah, because if I kind of rub at it, it rubs kind of like buffing a wax would feel. So I think this is a wax finish, in which case it would be a fully cured wax, because I've had this piece for way longer than 30 days in my stockpile. So you can paint over a fully cured wax. It will not, however, accept, usually Boss and Slick Stick are hard to get to stick on top of it, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. So this piece also has these little keyholes right here. And all of this needs to come off. I've taken off all the hardware on this piece, but these little keyholes I want to come off. So everything can come off of a piece. Do you guys see how it's attached by little pin nails on there? Okay, so these can come off. And what I do to pry something like this off is I'm going to get in behind this little placard right here, and I just want to pop it away from my wood a little bit. Okay, and then I see it start to detach. I'm gonna have to look at this. And those little nails are gonna start to loosen. I'm just popping my screwdriver in between. And once it's loosened a little bit, I can come here from the other side and I'm gonna pry that little tiny nail out. And then I'm gonna work this around and pry it out from the other side too. I don't wanna break these. Whoops, I just popped that nail across the room. I actually keep a spare supply of these. You could even come here with a little tiny hammer too and just pop this little nail out. I heard it. Oh, I see it. I'll grab it in a second. Okay. So I've got the little nails out, and these will just hammer back in once my piece has been cleaned and painted and everything. I can just hammer this right back in where it was. Are you still searching? Because it's right here.
You know what? I even have glasses on.
That's why I'm like, whoa.
It's my monocle.
Okay,
I like to play Monopoly.
I've got a few pieces in progress right now, but I buy these little caddies. They're little school caddies. And I keep a compartment for hardware for each piece that I'm working on. So this, well, this doesn't belong in here. This is the hardware for this piece. So these are my handles. And I'm going to keep all this hardware together, including these little pin nails. And then all my hardware is together. And these caddies just float around, and then as I need them, I can address the hardware for whatever piece I'm working on. I've got the screws all together. It's not going to get mixed in with another piece. They go straight into there. Let me pop off this other keyhole right here. And then we will...
I just want to let you know that you're driving Dana crazy right now with
Why?
She doesn't like it when somebody's pulling the stuff off with a screwdriver.
Oh, it makes you nervous?
Get a putty knife and use a putty knife.
Yeah, you could use a putty knife. This is a flat edge screwdriver. I already did 2 of the 4 of these and was able to get them off and found that this worked fine. These are really small little keyholes. They're real keyholes. I don't have a key for this piece though, so they're going to be just decorative. And whoever painted this piece before painted over them. So there's another one, and they're not damaged at all. Again, that's whatever works. Definitely a putty knife would work, but the screwdriver worked great too. They've been painted over. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to soak these in a mixture of 50-50 white vinegar and water. You'll be astonished that paint that's on top of the hardware will just kind of melt off into my vinegar. You can boil them in the vinegar too, and that makes it come off even faster. I usually let them sit because I'm not in a hurry, but if you are in a hurry, boiling is another option. I have a crock pot just for my workspace.
So we got big questions coming up here. Sharon wants to know whose big pile of laundry is in the back?
That's my rag pile. So that's where all of the old laundry in our house comes to die. It goes to my rag pile. So it's bed sheets
and various.
Yeah, any kind
products.
Of towels, any kind of rags go in my rag pile. It's getting a little large. Like I need to probably bag some up and put it over in a different spot. It's getting a little large. Okay, so now that I've kind of assessed this, I'm going to look this piece over. It does have one spot on this side that I want to repair with a little bit of Dixie mud. Let me show you guys what that looks like. So again, this has been painted, so you don't notice it right off the bat, but do you guys see that little chip that's right there in the wood? That needs to be patched, or it's going to show up in every painted level that I put over top of it. That will show. Paint is not a filler, you guys. So if you're painting over, say, wood grain or a damage like this, paint is not going to fill that and make it disappear. It's just going to keep leveling it up, and you'll still see that flaw in it. So I'm going to take a little bit. I just have a razor blade. You could use a paint scraper. This is such a small spot. This is Dixie mud, which is kind of a paste. And Dixie mud's really cool because it can be used to make repairs. So if I wanted to fill these hardware holes, I could fill them with Dixie mud. If I wanted to make these keyholes go away, I can fill them with Dixie mud. In this case, I want to make this uneven spot go away. I'm using white. I do plan to put kind of a light finish on this. So I think I'll be okay. And I'm just going to scrape it and scrape it flat with my razor blade. This is such a small spot. A scraper would work for this too. Okay.
So Marie has a question.
Yeah.
You ever see a piece and walk away from it?
This one's pretty close, you guys. Do you want to know what my turning point was for this one? I came and started sanding the top. I don't know if you can stand up and see the top. I sanded a spot on this top. It's bird's eye maple. It's got beautiful bird's eye in it. And
yeah, I got the bird's eye on the maple.
I was like, man, maybe I should just let this one go. It's got a bird's eye in the maple. It's beautiful. And then I thought, you know what? It's exactly the explanation I gave you. People just need to understand that, she's 100 years old, just like your grandma. She's up, she's walking, she's doing great for 100. She's not 20 anymore, but she's doing great for 100. And that's this piece. It's doing great for 100 years old. The glides are in good condition. It doesn't have odors. I was able to fix the drawer bottoms. Let me show you guys another drawer bottom. There's another one that's got a problem. So my Dixie mud is going to dry, and then I can just sand that spot smooth, and you won't even know that flaw was there. What was I going to say? Oh, let's look at
drawers.
This drawer bottom here. You guys notice anything about this one? You notice a flaw with this drawer bottom.
What?
Let me know if you see it.
It's very translucent.
Yeah. So, what we will have to do for this is cut a new drawer bottom. So this is just a thin sheet of ply here. You can buy this at the hardware store. And then it has these two broken pieces. And so we'll use this as a template and cut a new drawer bottom for this. I will say for this piece, what it has working for it is this center portion here. These large, long drawers can start sagging over time. So I really appreciate that it has center supports in it. That will be an asset to keeping this piece in sturdy condition. But this one does need a new drawer bottom. So again, it's not a huge, horrible fix. It's gonna get, by the time we're done, it's got brand new wood up here. This one's in good condition, and then this one we'll have to cut a new bottom for. Okay, so now from here, I want to go ahead and clean my piece. I've got my patches done. I've taken off all my hardware. I'm going to go ahead and clean this. So what I'm going to clean it with is Dixie Belle White Lightning. And White Lightning comes in a granulated formula. You dissolve it into a spray bottle of water. Okay, so that's all that's in here is my White Lightning cleaner.
What are you using?
This is Dixie Belle White Lightning Cleaner.
So I don't know if you know this.
Oh, do tell. Never gets old. For the new viewers, do you care to tell them?
I'm good.
Yeah. Sean's nickname in high school was White Lightning. That's a total lie, by the way, because I knew Sean in high school. Okay, and then I'm going to clean my piece. Okay, like I said, this looks worse than it is because it's got a painted finish on it, but it was painted brown. So it looks like it's really dark and dingy. It's actually not that dirty. It's not that dirty, and the other thing I'm noticing is usually if I'm going to have bleed through, I'll notice it when I'm cleaning, and I'm not seeing that here. So that's all good. Make sure I clean these where the hardware was really good. It's going to get covered up back there with the hardware again. And then once you've cleaned with White Lightning, you want to make sure that you come back and rinse any cleaning residue off of your piece. I did avoid this drawer here because I don't want to get my Dixie Mud wet. It's still wet. I just put that on, and it's got to set up. Usually takes a couple hours. You can touch Dixie Mud, and once it's dry, you can come back and sand it. So that's going to vary depending on what your temperatures are. But I could probably do that later tonight.
So when you actually are mixing up White Lightning, how long is it good for?
Oh gosh, I mix my White
you sit
Lightning
it.
for, I mean, and it sits in the same spray bottle for months. So I don't think it has a shelf life. It's a chemical dissolved into water. You should wear gloves when you're cleaning with your White Lightning. It is chemicals, especially if you have sensitive skin, but it does recommend that you wear gloves on the packaging. Always follow the directions on your packaging, you guys. Okay, and so now I've rinsed my White Lightning with some water, and so now I should have a surface that's ready to clean. Okay, I'm going to do a test spot. I would like this piece to have Boss. And Dixie Belle Boss is a stain and odor blocking primer. It stands for blocks odors, stains, and stops bleed through. When you're assessing your piece to paint it, you're going to look at it and say, okay, what do I have? Am I painting glass, laminate, or plastic, or a slick surface? And that's going to be your slick stick. Slick stick will not block stains, you guys. In this case, this is none of those. It's not glass, laminate, plastic. It's not an overly slick surface. It's real wood. I know that I want Boss on here. I'm more worried that this wood will bleed through. I don't know how it was prepped for this original coat of paint. But if this is a waxed finish, it may not accept the Boss. So I need to test that really quick. And you'll know right away, it will start beating up your Boss.
So when you're wiping the piece, how do you know if it's dirt or if it's the tannins?
If it just keeps wiping dirty, it just keeps wiping dirty. I mean, you've cleaned this piece and it's not dirt. You just know. If it keeps you're getting brown rag after brown rag after brown rag, it's no longer dirt that you're wiping away. You're getting tannin bleed through. So that's a good sign. Now, not all bleeders are going to tell you right off the bat. Some are a little more sneaky, a little more devious about it.
Yes, Bridget, it's Boss.
They're going to hide that from you. So Boss is a water-based stain blocking primer, and this is going to take it really, really well. You'll know right off the bat if it starts beating up your Boss. It will beat it like beating water, not like beating like punching, but yeah, you got it? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take this drawer out because it's going to be easier for me to paint it like this.
Let's leave the jokes to this side of the camera.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Just saying.
Boss goes on really well, just like putting on a paint. And we're going to talk a lot about this piece with just getting a really clean coat of paint on it. For this finish, I plan to do kind of light grays. You can lubricate your surface with just a mist of water. I'm not trying to dilute the product. You can also use a damp brush when putting on your Boss. You don't want to dilute the product, but it may just help your brush glide a little bit easier. I'm using my nice Dixie Belle brushes. Because it's a water-based product, it cleans up really easily with water. So my brushes will clean really easily after this. I'm going to give myself a little mist here because it's starting to dry. Now I want to get long, linear brush strokes.
That was for you, Dawn.
Long, even brush strokes. Keep my brush strokes nice and even. This is the base for my paint, you guys. Whatever I have showing in this base is going to show through in my painted finish. And then I want to make sure that I get up here along the edge of this drawer too. I'm using this boss to block any stains from coming through. And I don't want them coming, I don't want to have a nice painted finish on the front and then I have stains bleeding through along all my drawer edges. I just touched this drawer side. Let me show you guys what I mean.
Sorry guys.
Touched this drawer side and I had boss on my fingers.
Oopsie.
I'm going to clean it off. Just a little bit of white lightning that I've got sitting right here. I'm going to wipe that away.
So do you sand after putting boss on?
If anything, I will just brush it with a sanding sponge. You're creating a barrier. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. You're creating a barrier for the oils in your piece and your paint. You don't want them coming in contact, so you're going to create that barrier. If you sand and you void through that, you've just undone the purpose of the boss. So if anything, I just brush the top of it. You don't want to go so far that you go through that layer of protection that you're putting on your piece. Okay, so again, I'm going to give myself just a mist of water. All I'm doing is lubricating my surface just so my brush glides a little bit easier. I don't want to dilute the product at all. And then nice brush strokes all the way across my piece. I wouldn't even use a chip brush for this because chip brushes tend to leave more brush strokes. Synthetic bristles give you a little bit smoother finish. So this is the base for my paint. I still want that really smooth finish in here.
And then how many coats of this are you putting on?
So watch your piece because for the most part I do, I don't think this is going to be a real problem. But for the most part I do 1 or 2 coats. You clean up this edge a little bit right here. But there are some pieces where if your boss keeps turning yellow or pink, your piece is bleeding through the boss and it can take multiple coats. So watch your boss. If stains are popping up through your boss, they're going to pop up through your paint too. Boss, like I told you, I plan to do kind of a light finish on this. I'm thinking light grays. Let me talk to you guys a little bit about my finish. I think I'm going to do probably somewhere in the driftwood range and maybe blend it into like a white in the center. Just a really simple, pretty soft finish. Going to put a transfer on this. Let me show you what transfer I chose. This is from Hocus Pocus. This one's called, oh, someone told me they're on the lid. I keep missing that. Jardin de Roses. Okay, so Rose Garden is what it spells out to. And it's got these really soft, pretty roses on here. So I think this will be pretty on a soft gray background on this piece. And I'm going to kind of vine it. We're going to do this all together, you guys. I'm explaining the finish we're going to do, but we're just prepping this piece. We're going to do this over the next several weeks together. We're going to put this finish together on camera. And then I'm going to vine this transfer, I think, kind of up here, and maybe even let it go onto the top, which will be a wood stain top. So it'll kind of vine down the side, just a really soft, pretty, feminine piece. So that's my plan. Like I said, we're going to do it all together on camera. By the time we're done, you guys will feel a sense of ownership and investment in this piece because you will have seen it start from this, where it is tonight, to where we're going to end up in a few weeks. I want to make sure that I get my boss inside my piece too. I do come in here and I paint all this part of my furniture. So I've already cleaned in here and now I can make sure that this gets my boss and then I can paint inside my piece. I just do to where it makes the most sense to end my painted finish. And this has these wood slats right here that it just makes sense to make sure those are painted as well. I just dripped down here. If you drip as you're going, you want to make sure you clean those up. Otherwise, you end up having to sand them out later. So I'm going to go all the way across here. I want to get inside here. And I try to make the insides look somewhat clean. At some point, someone's going to take the drawer out of my piece, and I don't want them seeing that I've got brush strokes and drips all over the inside. I try to make those look nice and clean as well. Okay, I'm going to come up here. This is a really detailed front, and I'm not going to try to sand this. So I'm going to come up.
I'd like to get in there if you're done with this drawer for a minute.
Yeah, I'll do this other one in just a second. But I'm going to get it right in here. You can tape this off. I'm going to do a wood stain top on here, but I'm going to get in right under this lip, because that's as far as my paint's going to go.
And where'd you get the transfer from?
So this transfer, I have a link. If you go to the top of my Facebook page, the link that's pinned to the top of there will have a link for purchasing Hocus Pocus transfers. So first post on my Facebook page includes a link. Click on there and you'll find a link to purchase Hocus Pocus transfers. That's always there, you guys. Anytime you're looking for a link to anything that I use, it's always the first post on my Facebook page has all of those. Also in the my profile on Instagram. That link will take you to all of my links. And it'll say Hocus Pocus transfer. Okay, so I'm going to say that this piece, ooh, let me show you, I got some good bleed through on here. Ooh, can you come in here? I don't have wheels on this. I wish I had some wheels on it. Can you guys see this discoloration right here? Okay, my first coat of Boss is bleeding through. When you're doing Boss, you want to abide by your dry times, okay? Because if I try to rush this and let it dry for the next 5 minutes and put another coat on there, I'm not going to get the full level of protection. So I need to let this dry, come back and put another coat on, and then let that have a chance to dry and see. If it keeps discoloring, I know right off the bat I need another coat of Boss, okay? Go ahead and come do this side really quick since I've got this piece turned. But that's a great example of what bleed through looks like. So
yellowing, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a yellowing.
Peeps on the IG can see it.
Yeah, get all up in there because that's a great example of bleed through. This piece is a bleeder. Now, that's inside my piece, but I'm still going to try to contain it as much as possible. And then I know someone has sanded through even this painted finish for a distressed look, and those portions where it's been sanded are more likely to bleed. So this is my side. I know right off the bat, seeing that this piece is going to need 2 coats of Boss. I like Boss White because I plan on doing this in a light gray finish. How you tell if you want Boss White or Boss in clear is what kind of finish do you want. If I want to distress back to the original wood and I don't want to see this layer of white, then I probably need to use clear. But in this case, the white helps me to take this dark wood finish, and it gives me a color that's closer to the finish I want to get to, which is that soft gray. This white is going to be an asset to me. So not only am I solving a problem with the Boss by blocking my stains, it's also going to get me a layer of primer that's closer to the color I want to be, and then my paint is going to cover better too. So pick the color of Boss that's closest to the finish that you want to get to.
And do you want to speak to the consistency of that, what you're putting on?
So it's thinner than the paint, I'm going to say. It's a little bit thinner than the paint. It can change consistency, but it goes on just like a paint. It goes on just like a paint. It doesn't have strong odors. It's got a very mild odor, but it's not. Some other stain blocking primers on the market can actually burn your scent.
My nostrils.
Burn your nostrils in those holes to use it. And Boss is very friendly. I'm inside using it. It's not making my eyes water or anything. It's a very, very light scent.
I don't know why you insist on putting stuff in my way.
So your other option for stain blocking is shellac or a shellac-based primer. Shellac and shellac-based primer smell terrible. They will burn your nose. They are hard to go on. I got a drip right here. Let me clean that up. They will burn your nose. You cannot use nice brushes to put them on, which means you're going to have to use a not so nice brush, and you have a higher chance of getting brush strokes. I super appreciate this product. And then my paint goes on really nicely over top of it. So, especially when you're doing light colors, this is such a nice alternative to some of the gross hardware store options for blocking stains. A lot of the hardware store options, you guys, for blocking stains don't block stains, by the way. If you go on the shelf at the paint department at your Home Depot, a lot of those are made for blocking stains on your walls in latex paint, so nicotine stains. They're not meant for blocking the oils that are going to come out of wood, and they don't block them. So even some stain blocking primers are not going to solve the problems that we're trying to solve with furniture. I spend a lot of time in the Facebook groups, and a lot of new painters struggle with that. You get a stain, something that says block stains off the hardware store shelf, and it's not going to block the stains that we're talking about because it's meant for painting the walls in your home, which don't deal with wood tannins.
Does Boss block odor?
Yes, it blocks odor. So if you've got nicotine smells, now this one doesn't smell bad. I don't like pieces that have smells. I try to avoid them. But if you've got nicotine smells or just old musty smells, or perfume is another one we see a lot, you can put Boss, because all those smells get inside your piece too, you guys. If you're smelling a smell in nicotine, it's going to be inside the frame of your piece. It's not just in the drawer. You can block it in your drawer and you're still going to have it in here. But you can use Boss and clear, and you can put it inside your drawer, and that's going to put it, it creates a barrier. It's that barrier, you guys, and it creates a barrier, encapsulates those smells. I didn't Boss over my mud repair right here because I still need to sand that away, so I'm just going to leave it for now. But yeah, if you have smells in your piece, Boss is going to be what you need.
Can you tint Boss?
So I have tinted Boss. Now if you tint Boss, understand that it takes very, very little paint to tint. Okay, if you use, it's the same thing as me spraying my piece with a little mist of water. You're not trying to do a 50-50 mixture.
So then let me ask you this. If that's kind of a concern, is there going to be any tinted Boss coming out?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I do not know that. But I don't know that. But if you tint your Boss, you guys, it takes a drop of paint. You don't want to compromise the formula of it. If that's what you're doing, you don't want to compromise the formulation of it. So keep in mind that it's just a tint, a 50-50 mixture, and you're going to lose the potency of the Boss itself. You don't want to turn it into paint. It's not paint. It looks like paint, but it's not paint. However, it is water-based, so it is friendly to the paints if you put the paint in it. That's what I'm saying. Hope that makes sense. Don't overpower it. Can't stress that enough. You know, if you put too much in, you may end up needing more coats, which then violates the point of your tint in the first place. So long linear coats, and this is the same thing if you want to put on just a clean, smooth coat of paint, you guys. A little bit of water, long linear brush strokes all the way across the front. Even if I put my Boss on like this, you guys can see all those brush strokes in there. Come back and even them out, guys. Your final step should look like this. Clean it up. Because you can do just a solid single paint cut finish and it's beautiful, but having those long linear brush strokes across the front of your piece will make a huge difference. I got a drip of my Boss onto the side. I'm going to clean that off. I don't think I'm going to paint these drawer sides, and the reason is the type of glide that they have is going to rub. It's meant to rub. It's got a high contact drawer glide. You see these channels right here? My drawer sides are rub in them constantly. There is no paint technique I can give you that's going to stop that rubbing from happening, and it's going to take the paint off the sides. So I don't want to paint these drawer sides. You have to assess that when you're looking at your piece. If it rubs the side, you can shave your sides down a little bit to try to prevent it. Eventually it's probably going to come in contact at some point, unless you shave it down a lot. But these have glides in it that are meant to rub on the drawer sides. So
a couple questions. Do you keep a brush just for primers?
no.
Okay.
Primer cleans really well. It cleans out of my brushes really well. I'm cleaning these right here. I haven't cleaned this one down here.
And can you spray Boss?
Yes, you can spray Boss. It sprays really, really nicely. So depending on your sprayer, every sprayer is different, but your sprayer will tell you how much you need to dilute it. But I would say minimal. It's very comparable to the paint in consistency. So if you need to dilute, it's going to be minimal.
Wow, this side of the piece looks like it got in a wrestling competition.
Yeah, I'll show you guys that in a minute. That had a repair on it. I had to glue a spot and fill it with Dixie mud.
Is Boss a self-leveler?
Is Boss a self-leveler? That's a great question. I'm honestly not sure the answer on that. I want to say yes, but I'd have to double check with you guys. Dixie Belle, if you're
Dixie Belle's on there.
Dixie Belle, help me out here, guys. I know you're in the kitchen getting a snack right now, Dixie Belle. Don't fly. Is Boss self-leveling? I want to say yes. Do I win a prize? Anybody? Anybody?
And what's that brush that you're using?
So this is the Dixie Belle Mini. Right now, these are sold out on the website, but they are. These are my go-to brushes for laying anything on. They give a nice, smooth finish. Definitely worth investing in. You guys can sign up on the website for email alerts that will tell you when they come back in. They're coming in really small quantities right now because of COVID. So be patient, sign yourself up for emails when the Dixie Belle Mini comes in stock, and you definitely want to have one of these in your
arsenal.
Yeah, in your arsenal. I would absolutely, people ask me all the time how you get a smooth paint finish, and I would absolutely say that having the right materials, the best materials for your job, is a huge part of that. And nice brushes are well worth the investment. You guys, I didn't start with nice brushes. I didn't. You can go back to my old videos and see I started with hardware store brushes. Man, do I notice a difference.
Night and day.
Night and day. They allow me to get a really smooth paint finish, primer finish, whatever it is. The Dixie Belle Mini, I don't have a clean one. These are made of synthetic bristles, so they've got a combination of nylon and polyester in there. The biggest thing I notice is they clean remarkably well. This is not as old as some of my brushes. I can tell by the handle. It's been well used, but my brush is not destroyed up here. I don't have any of these that I've had to throw away yet, and I paint, you know.
I mean, that brush has been around for a while.
Yeah, I've got ones that I've taught classes with where, you know, we've done hundreds of pieces, small pieces throughout the day, and I'm still carrying them around. They just clean really well, which allows me to get the longevity out of them.
I mean, the fact is, it was probably painting hieroglyphics in the Egyptian pyramids.
Yeah. It definitely was.
Just throwing out some facts.
Okay, so let's talk about this side here, because I need to do another repair to this side. This side had some cracking in the veneer. This is the biggest one right here. I used a razor blade, and I slid it behind my veneer, and I glued it down, and then I put a nail in here just to hold the veneer down. Okay, so my veneer is now reattached. It doesn't have that bubble, but now it's got an uneven spot. So this is another place where I need to take my Dixie mud, and this is going to take more mud than that spot on the front. This is where I'd probably appreciate a putty knife, but I didn't get one out.
I was just thinking that.
Here, but mud.
I think it's kind of a safety thing.
You're going to want to slap it on with your fingers like this.
That looks level.
Yeah. I'm going to fill this spot, and then I'll come back and kind of clean it up. So this is a bigger spot than I've got on the front. And then I'm just going to scrape it a little bit and get it kind of level. This is just using that razor blade I have out. Not the best tool for this big of a spot. A putty knife would be what I would
The
use.
sander makes it look beautiful.
I even have a little spatula tool that's really nice for this. Yeah, so where this looks all messy right now, once I sand this, as long as I usually apply mud in excess, I'll apply way too much, because I can sand it back. But if it's missing, I've got to come back and reapply it. So I apply it in excess when I'm doing repairs, because I can always sand it back. But if it's missing, I've got to add more. And then I'm just going to phase this out so that when I do sand it, I don't have an abrupt line where that stops. So that's a pretty big patch. But when I sand this away, it's going to be nice and smooth. And then same with these spots here. You can see I already went over it with a really fine coat of my mud just to fill in the little cracking. It was just little crackling. So I'm just trying to get it smooth. This would be the same kind of repair you would do if you had heavy wood grain. You're just going to fill it. They're very shallow, but you want to get it even. And that's kind of what I had.
You know, while you're doing this, I kind of feel like you should have I mean, you're at Brush by Brandy. You should have one of those X amount of days since the last incident.
Yeah, from OSHA.
Injury.
Yeah, I'll contact them. See how many.
Here, let me apply this with a razor blade.
How many free hard hats they'll send me. Well, I got it out because I was thinking just that small spot.
It's a
on the
multi-useful
front.
tool.
Yeah, I use razor blades a lot, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. Straight out of the package, razor blades. So now same as with that repair on the front. I need to let this patch dry and then sand it, and then when I do, I can come back and put my boss on this side. Try to not spill my water. Oop, I missed a spot up here. So, let's see. I promised you guys that we would go over and take a look at a piece I'm going to post tomorrow. So let's go take a look. And this is the piece we worked on last week. Let's go take a look at it. You ready to go on the move? I know it's your favorite thing with 10 tripods.
Oh, man.
I know.
Just winging it.
Okay, so let's go across the room and I will show you guys what we worked on last week so you can see the finish that we did. I always think it helps. It's different to see it on camera than just still shots. Yeah, the white one. So from here, if you guys come back with me next week, this is going to be ready for paint. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a second coat of this boss on just like I did the first one. And when we come back next week, we're going to be ready to put some paint on this.
What are you going to do to the top of this piece?
I'm going to stain it. This is going to be a wood stain top. It's got that beautiful bird's eye. Like I said, I sanded a small test spot, and when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's all I needed to see that this piece is worthwhile to put a nice finish on. It's got a beautiful top on it. So I'm not going to cover it up. We're going to put a wood stain finish on the top. I haven't decided what color wood stain. So think I'm in the grays with my soft pink transfer. I've got a light color wood with the maple, so I could go light or dark with it. So I don't know. Be thinking on that, and when we get to that point, we'll put a stain on the top. But next week we're going to put some paint on this. So let's go look at the piece we did last week and see how that finish turned out. So why I like doing these start to finish pieces with you guys is number one, it takes you back to basics. It takes you back to pulling a piece out of a dumpster, you know, getting it from with the free sign at your neighbor's house. What do you have to do to get started? And this addressed a lot of problems that you start out with before you can get to those beautiful paint finishes. I love that part too, you guys, but you have to get past this step first. Ask yourself in your head as you go through a piece, pulling the drawers out, what now? What's next? What's next? What's next? And you've got to solve all this before you can put paint on a piece. All right, road trip.
That's our theme song.
The circus?
Yep.
Okay, so
Sorry, guys.
my staged photos are much prettier, trust me, but I've got this stashed over here along this wall. This is the finish we did last week. It is gorgeous, you guys. This piece came out beautifully. I absolutely love it. Let me show you guys a little secret I got in here too. A pop of color. I chose the green, which is Dixie Belle Evergreen, because this was a barn find, and I thought, what better to suit a barn find than a pop of green inside. Okay, so this is, we took this down to raw wood last week with a little bit of soda blasting, and this is nothing but Dixie Belle No Pain Gel Stain in Pickling White. I did end up putting a coat of clear boss over it because I noticed that it was bleeding a little bit into the white, so I just put the clear boss underneath, and then you can put the no paint gel stain right over top, and it gave me this beautiful kind of bleached wood look. So I'm super happy with it. I'm super happy with it. I didn't cover up any of the detail in the wood. I've still got all this grain in here, but it just softened it with a little bit of a bleached wood look.
I just noticed something on camera that I didn't notice, you know, because I have an eye for this kind of stuff. Just one eye.
Oh, you painted it.
What?
When'd you do that?
It's been painted. It's like a spider web in the middle with the grain of the wood. So right there, and it circles out.
Oh, does it?
Oh.
Oh, now I see it. Oh, now I see it. Okay, I see it now. Now I see what you're
Oh,
doing.
now,
Yeah.
wait a minute. My one eye was better than your two?
So it's got this kind of gradated look here where it's a little bit, and I just applied a little bit more gel stain in these areas. I just used almost a dry brush where it had barely any gel stain, and gel stain gets really smudgy, really nice. So I just smudged that around and got a little bit heavier coverage in this. And then I sealed it with a spray of Dixie Belle Flat Clear Coat.
Yes, this is the driveway piece.
Yeah, this is what we soda blasted in my driveway last week. So we took it back to the raw wood, and then I put a white gel stain over the top of the raw wood, a coat of Boss, and a coat of white gel stain over the top of the raw wood. So that's where you end up with it. But anyway, I'll post pictures of this tomorrow. You'll get to see all the details, but it came out really pretty. All this beautiful leg detail. You can see all the wood grain in here. It's really pretty in person. I think it's really one of a kind. Drawer sides I painted. These are in evergreen too.
So are you keeping this piece?
I'm not. This one will be for sale. Anybody want to buy it?
Please?
Let's do a live auction. Live auction. Message me if you really like it. It's going to be available. I think it'll go fast because I was getting messages on this piece even before I finished it. People were like, is it for sale? How much? When can I get it? Like, whoa, slow down, guys. Give me a break.
That was me messaging you.
Yeah, but it's really pretty with the green inside, and the photos are gorgeous of it. All right, you guys.
Here, hold on, because there's a request to get in there a little closer.
Get in there?
On the IG.
Yeah, you guys, Instagram gets a really nice picture.
You can take it in there?
I want to see what you guys see. And you can see all this wood grain in here.
Oh man, that's like picture in picture.
Yeah, you can see me on camera taking pictures. So tacky, you guys, so tacky. That's a good spot right there. See how the white got into all the wood grain?
Now look at that. Picture in picture in picture.
Get in even closer. See how the white gets into the wood grain? Instagram, I've got you guys looking at it really close. See all that? Really pretty hardware.
Do you ship?
I do offer nationwide shipping. I do. So I can't get it overseas, but I do offer nationwide shipping.
Donna just volunteered to be my first customer.
Yeah.
Soda blasted.
Yeah. Down here on the details, I like showing you guys this.
Can you not mess with this camera, please? I don't want to get violent. Picture in picture.
Okay, I'm going to point out my own flaws to you guys. I never tell you guys that I do anything perfectly. This is one that I don't really have a lot of control over. This is a spot where I had to fill this piece with Dixie mud right here. I covered it with the white gel stain. You could still tell that this was here, but this is an old piece of furniture, you guys. So it's totally sturdy. It's totally sturdy. It's got little flaws in it. It's got little flaws in it, and I chose to not do a painted finish because I don't think this is enough to have made it reasonable to cover up all this wood. So these are character statements as far as I'm concerned. It's been fixed. It's as good as it's gonna get, but this is still a really old piece of furniture. So
I really hate to tell you this, but everything has a flaw in it.
well,
except I know, except for myself. I know.
I don't
I get
want to
it.
brag, but so I don't know. Just keep that in mind. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. If you can see little things, this was a repair. I took care of the repair. It's nice and smooth. It's not, you know, compromising the piece at all. But it wasn't worth it for me to paint all of this for this spot right here. So that's where I landed on it. No paint gel stain, can go over raw wood, can go over existing finishes too. I'll show you guys. Ready to go next door? This one I haven't photographed
Go
yet.
next door.
But this is an example.
Oh, thank you. It's just the case.
Okay.
Not that though.
I didn't know you put all this stuff up here. This piece was golden oak, This is no paint gel stain over golden oak. I don't even have the hardware back on this one. We did this on camera though a couple weeks ago, and this is another one. So no paint gel stain in a dark finish, camouflaging golden oak. Took it to kind of this rich cherry finish. It's to match my customer's bedroom set. And this one over here is no paint gel stain in white over raw wood. All no paint gel stain. We didn't use any paint on these, which is so cool. So that's another example. All right, you guys, I'm going to get off. It's super late. It's almost the weekend. Go take a break. It's a holiday weekend, you guys. Happy holiday, Labor Day. Go do some painting. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I did put a...
Labor Day weekend, go do some work.
Yeah, go do some labor. I put a link in the top of the post if you guys are interested in anything we used tonight, whether it's the gel stains you see on these, that we did on video in previous weeks, or the Boss and the cleaning products we used on our piece we're going to work on together. You can also use that link to find a retailer near you if you guys want to go shopping for Labor Day.
Who doesn't?
But if you're going to buy online, I always appreciate purchases through there. They support my small business as well. So you guys have a great weekend. I will talk to you later.